Welcome to Gentle Yoga. For our practice today, we're going to use either a block, if you have one, or a folded blanket. And instead of a block, you can always use a thick hardback book, and instead of a yoga blanket, you can always use a regular blanket. Just have it folded up pretty thick. It's a nice rectangle. And we'll begin today in child's pose. You can make your way towards the back of the mat, take the knees mat width, bring the big toes together if this is comfortable for you. And if you have a little tightness in the knees, you can always take the blanket and bring it between the thighs and the calves. So you have a little bit of extra cushion here so your knees aren't bending quite as deeply. We're going to bring the hands forward. And inhale, lengthens the spine. And exhale, lowers the heart to the earth, walking the hands as far forward as is comfortable. And just let the sit bones reach back towards the heels. Let yourself get nice and heavy, reaching energy through the fingers. And take a breath in. Let it go with a sigh. One more nice deep breath in. And exhale, lets it go. And just let yourself get very heavy. Let the heart sink down towards the earth. And soften into the legs. And soften into the back. And as you breathe in and out, feel the belly expanding. Let yourself create a little space in the lower back. And relax the head down. Let the neck be nice and long. And just invite yourself to your practice, welcoming yourself to this time on your mat, spent just focusing on you. And take a breath in and let it go. And we'll very slowly, gently make our way forward onto the front body. So the knees draw towards each other, and the shoulders shift. And we slowly lower down. And let yourself be nice and long. You can stack the hands underneath the forehead and just rest the head there. And just let the front body melt in the earth. And notice as you use the earth as your reference point, you can bring a little bit more breath into the back body. And we're just letting go here. Release the jaw. And gently walk the hands underneath the shoulders. We're going to press our up through body, but make sure you've got the block or your blanket nearby. And we're just going to make our way onto the back, extending the legs long. And the arms relax by the sides. And just notice how the body feels now that you've created a little bit of space in the back. And see if you can soften down the lower back. Now very gently, we're going to bend into the knees, planting the feet. So you can take the block or you can take the blanket and block on the lowest level, blanket at its thickest. We're going to slide it underneath the lower back and then slide it down so it's underneath your bottom. So you want as low on the hips as is comfortable. We're going to slowly begin to walk the feet out, letting the legs extend along the earth. So you're creating a little bit of tension in the front of the hips and to lengthen our psoas muscle, which is a rather long muscle. It connects from the lumbar spine all the way down to the top of the femurs. And this is a great way to just create a little space in the body, allowing the psoas muscle to lengthen. And this muscle is implicated with our fight or flight, our sympathetic response. And sometimes when we're stressed, it gets a little short period of time. It can. So you should no crunching, no pain in the lower back, and use the blanket further towards the feet. A gentle pulling the front of the hips, which is what we're intending for. And just let yourself breathe in and breathe out. Notice if you can soften the rib cage down. You can always bring the hands to the hips, just to create a little warmth, using the touch to create a little space. And allow yourself one more breath here. And slowly bend the knees, walking the feet in towards the hips. And we'll lift the hips and slide them. And slowly lower back down. And extend the legs once more. And notice if this feels any different than before. Maybe the breath flows a little more freely. And take a breath in and let it go. Slowly once more, we'll draw the knees in to the chest and just hug them in. So you can rock around here, massaging the lower back. You can always bring the hands to the knees and circle them away and back in, massaging the sacrum. Or take the body needs. And then once more, hugging the knees in towards the chest. The second, we're lengthening the lower back. The first time is in child's pose. So keep the tailbone on the earth. Let the knees come in as close as is comfortable. So nothing extreme here. Just let yourself feel a little bit of lengthening in the lower. And then bring the hands behind the knees. And take a breath in, letting the legs lengthen. And on the exhale, we're just going to rock up to a seat. So you may find yourself landing here with the toes touching down. Reach the heart forward, let the spine be nice and long. And you can stay here, lifting up off the earth. So we're finding the hip flexors here. Or if you wish, begin to straighten one shin and then the opposite. So we're coming up into boat pose. So your boat, you can always have the hands behind the knees. The spine is long, the heart is reaching forward. Or if you wish to challenge yourself, you can extend the legs, extend the arms. Maybe straightening the legs a little bit. Notice how that feels. Keeping the core engaged, keeping the spine nice and long. And take one more breath. And slowly bend the knees, returning the feet. This time they come down to the earth. And the hands come to the knees. And just draw the heart forward. And then hollow out the front body, rounding back. And then inhale, guides the heart forward. And exhale around. And take that once more. Very slowly, we'll make our way to a comfortable seat. So letting yourself face front. Sitting up nice and tall. So the sit bones and the tailbone draw down into the earth, rooting down the ground. And the hands land on either side of you. Rise up through the crown of the head. I'm finding a little bit of core activation here. So a little bit of what we just felt in our boat pose. Keeping the spine nice and tall. And on the inhale, flip the palms up towards the sky, guiding the arms overhead. Keeping the sit bones and the tailbone rooted down. Slowly flip the palms, lowering the hands down. And the inhale guides the arms up. And the exhale releases them down. Just creating a little space in the shoulders. Keeping the spine active and the core active. The last inhale guides the arms up. And this time we'll lower the right hand down. Left arm stays lifted. Inhale, lengthens, reaching through those fingers. And exhale, we find a side bend. So you can walk that right hand out. You can lower towards the forearm if that's comfortable. You can look up underneath that left arm. Just notice what you need. Taking any adjustments in this pose. And slowly on the inhale, press yourself up. That right arm rises and the left lowers down. Once again, inhale, lengthening through the right side, then carrying that length with you, side bending to the left. So make sure that right sit bone stays nice and heavy. Relax the face. Again, maybe taking the gaze up towards the sky, or maybe down to ground. And slowly on the inhale, press yourself upright. And that left arm raises once more. We're going to bring the right hand behind the back or off to the side. And sitting up nice and tall, we'll cross that left hand to the right knee. So keep the heart shining forward. Inhale, lengthens the spine, drawing the sit bones down. On the exhale, we come into a twist towards the right. So you can take the gaze over that right shoulder, keeping the core engaged to support the lower back, and breathe. And slowly on the inhale, unwind, reaching the arms overhead. And then left hand lowers down. And right arm lengthens and then crosses to that left knee. And again, inhale sits you up nice and tall, lengthening the spine. And on the exhale, using the core, guide yourself into your twist. Relax the shoulders. Lengthen the spine. Keeping the tailbone rooted down. And slowly on the inhale, unwind, reaching the arms overhead. So we'll take our third little lower back lengthening here. Slowly begin to tip forward. So let the hands come down to the earth first. And with a mostly flat spine, Just begin to lower the heart down towards the earth. You can round it as you get closer. See if you can keep the tailbone rooted down. Relax the shoulders and let the neck stay nice and long. So a little seated forward fold here. Breathing into the lower back. And notice if any tension has popped up into the jaw. See down. So sometimes it's just helpful to notice if the tongue is hanging out in the roof of the mouth. And if it is, that means that you're just beginning to clench the jaw. So bring the tongue down to the lower teeth. And slowly walk the hands in. And bring yourself back up to a seat. And just take a body feels. And so we're going to bring a little movement into the neck today, just kind of to continue releasing the upper back. So gently lower the right ear to the right shoulder, and the right hand comes up and over and lands very lightly on that left ear. So it's just the weight of the hand. We're not pressing down, and relax that right shoulder. Keep drawing the tailbone down to the earth, and maybe you stay right here. An option is to extend that left arm away from the body, letting the left hand be higher than the hip, and lower here. And building onto that, if you wish, you can flex the fingers of the left hand down towards the earth, the sky. And just letting you explore both directions of the pose. That right hand, make sure it's not pressing down on the left ear. You're just using the weight of the hand. And then gently lower the left hand to the earth. We're going to turn the gaze towards that right armpit. So walking the right hand now to the back of the head. So the chin is towards the right armpit. And finding a lengthening in the back of the neck. And maybe that left hand slides underneath that left thigh. And let that left shoulder relax. This is all entirely optional. If this is too much on the neck, you can just lower the chin towards the chest and release that right hand. And we'll meet you there. And take one more breath. And gently release that left hand. And gently release the right hand and then lower the chin to the chest. So feel lengthening in the back. Soften the shoulders. And when you're ready, slowly return the gaze through center. So once more, pressing the sit bones down, lengthening the tailbone towards the earth, rising up through the spine, reaching up through the crown of the head, engaging the core. And then gently lower the left ear to the left shoulder. And same thing, you can very lightly on just the weight of the hands. Apply a little pressure, just a little bit. And you can stay or you can extend that right arm. And you can stay there or you can just begin to find a little flexion, bending the hand down and up, flexion and extension. Relaxing that left shoulder. Make sure you're not pressing down with the left hand. And keep the spine as tall as is comfortable here. I know we're in a different position now. It's hard to tell. And then slowly, as you're ready, we'll bring that right hand down to the earth. And we'll gently turn the gaze towards that left armpit. So nose is towards the armpit, and that left hand is on the back of the head. Finding a stretch on the back of the neck. Maybe that side. And just feel the breath in the body. any point in your practice, your mind begins to wander, just bring it back to the breath. Take one more breath here. Gently release the right hand and release the left hand from the back of the head down towards the chest. So as the chin drops down, the collarbones press up. We're lengthening the spine. We're just finding a little extra lengthening in the back of the neck. And when you're ready, gently begin. Lift the chin. And this is your opportunity to take any movements, maybe a gentle turn from side to side, maybe gently lifting the chin up towards the sky. Just take a few moments here, just noticing what space you need to create or what movements the neck requires. Keeping the shoulders relaxed. Let the movements be fluid and easy. And coming back through center. Just let the eyes soften closed once more. And just notice how you feel. So we may not spend enough time in our everyday lives just noticing how we feel. It's good to notice, especially in yoga. And gently blink the eyes open. We're going to make our way on the hands and knees, coming into table pose. So if you need an extra bit of padding underneath the knees, you can always take a blanket, pad up the knees or pad up the shins. So the knees or hips pressed down, and the wrists are underneath the shoulders, and the fingers are spread nice and wide. And we're just beginning to lengthen the spine here, so reaching back with the sit bones, and reaching forward through the crown of the head. We're going to gently draw the shoulder blades down the back, letting a little bit of extra engagement in the back body. And then gently turn the eyes of the elbows to face front. And take a little bit more weight into the pinky fingers, so we've really turned on the back muscles. And lastly, just notice the core. So you can nod the tailbone up and down place where the core feels like it's firing up, it's kicking on. And from here, with all this activation, just let yourself flow through a couple rounds with controlled movement, lifting the gaze. Then the exhale presses the earth away, rounds navel towards spine. And just let yourself explore these two movements, moving. So inhale creates lengthening in the front of the body, and the exhale creates lengthening in the back. Maybe this pose brings a little smile to the face. You're creating freedom. You're creating space in the body. We're moving with the breath. Excuse me. And give yourself one more round in your cat-cow. We'll come back to a neutral spine. So pressing down into that left shin on the inhale, send the right leg back behind you. So the right foot's flexed, the toes point down towards the earth. You can always take that left hand to check the hips, make sure they're flat and level. And then maybe forward. So palm is facing in towards the midline. Energy through that right heel and through the left fingers. And see if you can engage the core here, keeping you nice and strong. And take a breath. On the exhale, we lower hand and knee to the earth and give your hips a gentle rock from side to side. And we'll gently weight that. Extend the left leg back, flexing the foot, leveling out the hips. Again, maybe using that right hand to check your work. And then let that right arm float forward, reaching out through the heel and the fingertips, getting nice and long. Engaging the core muscles. Take a breath. On the exhale, we lower hand and knee to the earth and gently rock the hips. So we'll add on a little bit. Coming back to center, wading into that left shin, extending the right leg back, finding your table as you did before. So drawing that left arm forward, finding your stability, finding your balance. Maybe you stay, or maybe you draw knee towards elbow, curling in. And then inhale, lengthens arm and leg away. We'll take that 3 more times. Exhale, curl. And inhale to lengthen. So getting the core active and involved here. Exhale, draws everything in. Inhale, lengthens. Take it 1 more time. And at the end of your 4th curl, through the heel, through the fingers, press down into that left shin. And then slowly lower hand and knee to the earth and gently rock the hips. And then this time, wading into that right shin, setting yourself up, squaring the hips to the earth, reaching through that right arm, drawing it through the fingertips. In and on the exhale, knee to elbow. Lengthen. And exhale, we round. And take that twice more. Inhale. And exhale, rounds you in. Last time. And draws everything away. And this time we'll take a little bit different. Keep that left leg lifted. Toes down to the earth, tucking the toes. Left leg is nice and long. And we'll swivel the right shin out to the right. And those toes are tucked. The sole of the left foot comes down. Hand holds you. And the left arm reaches up. More in a modified side plank. So this is side plank. And open the heart towards the space in front of you. Press down with the whole of that left foot. Keep the right. And you can take the gaze up towards that left hand. If you need more stability in this, you can always look down the ground. Keeping the finger. And then maybe that left arm reaches overhead. So finding another side bend here. Left fingers can drift towards the earth. Sole that left foot presses down. Right hand. So you're really breathing into the spaces between the ribs, the intercostals. 1 more breath. And slowly we rise, left arm. Hand takes a little bit more weight. Sometimes I just scooch it forward a little bit. And we'll gently lift that left leg up off the earth, reaching through the foot. Left arm reaches towards the sky, and we find ourselves in a modified side plank with the leg lifted. Taking the gaze wherever comfortable for you. You can always look down the ground, support your stability. And slowly lower that left foot down. And the left hand comes down. And the right shin swivels in. The left knee meets the right. We gently rock from side to side. So now that you've seen the front of me do that pose, we're going to turn around. I'm just going to switch legs. So extend the right leg back, tucking the toes. And swivel the left, tucking those toes. And the left hand takes the weight. Sole the right foot presses down. Right foot's roughly in line with that left knee. And right arm reaches up towards the sky. So we begin here first in our modified side plank. And see if you can engage the core muscles. So use what we did in our boat pose before. Find stability. Keep pressing that right foot down. Keep pressing the earth away with that left hand. And then as you're ready, reach overhead. And finding a stretch along the right side of the body. So the sole of the right foot presses down into the earth. The right fingers drift maybe towards the earth, maybe just towards the space in front of you. Breathe in. Breathe out. And slowly let those right drift up the sky. So into that, maybe shifting it forward just a scooch. Right leg lifts. The right arm towards the sky. So keep energy through it. The core will help you here. Keep engaged muscles. Breathe in. Breathe out. Lower that right foot down. Left hand comes down. Left shin swivels in. Right knee meets left. We gently rock the side. So from your table forward, one hand print. And the inhale lifts you forward, the upward facing dog. So it's upward facing dog with the knees down, lengthening the front of the body. Take a breath in. And then slowly from the core, we'll breath gently the hips back towards the heels, finding child's pose. So we'll flow between poses. The inhale draws you forward to your lazy upward facing dog. So knees are parallel here. And the exhale presses you back to child's pose. So keeping the knees parallel there in child's pose. And inhale draws you forward. So I've got some old creaky wooden floors here. That's what you're probably hearing more than my body creaking. And then exhale brings you back. So this inhale this time, a little bit different, brings you forward to lazy upward facing dog. And settle in for breath. Just let yourself get nice and heavy. And then we'll begin to tuck the toes and see if you can lift the knees, pressing yourself through plank. Pressing the earth away, reaching energy back through the heels. Draw the ribs towards the hips a little bit. And on the exhale, we slowly lift the hips up and back, coming into downward facing dog. And make any adjustments you need to hands and feet. You might step them in a little bit. You might step them out a little bit. Keeping a soft bend in the knees, just pen out the feet. Sort of lengthening the back of the leg, one at a time. You can let yourself pedal with breath if that feels right for you. When you're ready to settle in, the fingers are pressing down, the palms are lifting up a little bit. The arms are long, but the elbows aren't locked. The shoulders draw. The knees are bent, the spine is long. Let the front in towards the body. And just let yourself be. The first downward facing dog can always feel a little bit different. And breathe in. And breathe out. And then step the feet a little bit closer. Toes are all. And on the inhale, the right leg. And see if you can just sink into that left heel. Keeping the right toes reaching up towards the sky. Take a breath. And on the exhale, very slowly, we're going to draw the right knee in towards the nose, pressing the ball of the left foot into the earth. We curl it in and step the right foot down. Maybe move that left foot out a little bit, making sure feet are not on the same line. Tracks, not a tightrope. We find ourselves in a lunge here and take a breath in. Let it go. One more breath. And then we'll lower the left knee down, untuck the toes, and just gently drop over the thigh, over the right thigh. So grounding down through that left shin, let the head and the heart get heavy. Maybe the hips draw forward a little bit. And take a breath. And let it go. And slowly lifting the head and the heart, breathing into your now low lunge, that back knee is down. And then we'll slowly on the exhale begin to shift the hips back. Let the right toes lift. So you find a half Hanuman, Ardha Hanumasana. And the inhale draws you forward, coming into your lunge. And the exhale slowly sends you back. I'm going to take blocks underneath the hands if you need. We'll be moving them forward and back a bit. Inhale draws you forward. On the next exhale, we're just going to hunker down here in our half Hanuman. So make sure there's a soft bend in the right knee. Take a breath in. And then exhale, lowers the heart down, keeping a flex in that right foot. So you're saying hello to the hamstrings. And see if you can relax the shoulders. And notice where the tongue is. If it's on the roof of the mouth, bring it down. Hello to the birds chirping outside my window. And just breathe. And slowly on the inhale, crawling forward, back into our low lunge. And we'll tuck the left toes, lifting that left knee, coming back to our lunge. Now we're going to step the right foot back to downward facing dog. And we're back in our downward facing dog. And we're just breathing. Keep lengthening the spine, softness in the knees. Draw the front ribs in. And on the next inhale, the left leg raises up behind you. So sink that right, lengthen through that left leg. Take a breath. On the exhale, press into the ball of the right foot as you draw the left knee in towards the nose and the shoulders come over the wrist. Foot down. And we find our lunge, sinking the hips. So lengthening through that right heel and through the crown of the head. Get a little lower. And then we'll lower that right knee down, untucking the right toes, draping the head and the heart over that left thigh. Let that right shin ground down to the earth. And just breathe in and breathe out. And slowly lifting yourself up through lifting the heart. Inhale, shifts the hips forward, deepening the pose. And then exhale, we'll slowly shift the hips back, lengthening that left leg, letting the left toes tip up. And we'll flow. Inhale guides you forward to lunge. And exhale sends you back to half Hanuman, half split. Inhale forward. And exhale back. And we'll take that once more. In case your breath is not synced with mine, which happens when I teach. And the next time you exhale, we'll draw the hips back, lengthening that left leg. So again, flatten the back first. Reach through the crown of the head. And then slowly lower the heart, finding a soft bend in that left knee. You can adjust to. You can bring blocks underneath the head too. Bring attention now to the neck. And see if you can keep the neck nice and long. Not looking up, you're not kinking the back of the neck. The gaze is down where it would naturally be, with the neck in line with the spine. And soften the jaw and just breathe. And slowly bending back into that left knee for low lunge. You tuck the right toes, finding high lunge. And this time we're going to step that right foot to the top of the mat. So we're finding a forward fold. Step the feet a little bit wider than the hips, or maybe hip distance. Inhale finds a flat back. Reach. On the exhale, take a deep bend in the knees, straight thighs, supported forward fold. You can grab opposite elbows. You can gently sway. You can nod yes and shake it no. Whatever it is that you need. And slowly on the inhale, press yourself to a flat back. Stepping the feet back underneath the hips if you took them wide. On the exhale, just find a fold. You can always take blocks underneath the hands in a forward fold. And then slowly bend the knees. And we're going to roll up one vertebra at a time. Letting yourself slowly arrive to a stand. Adjust the waistband. And we meet mountain pose. So pressing down to the earth through all four quarters of the feet. Lengthening through the crown of the head. Relaxing the shoulders. And take a breath in, guiding the arms overhead. On the exhale, we swan dive forward into a fold. And the inhale presses you to a flat back. And the exhale folds you in. So a little half sun here. Soft bend in the knees, reaching the arms wide. On the inhale, we rise up. And the exhale brings the hands to the heart. We take that once more. Inhale draws the head. Then exhale, we fold forward. So hinging at the hips, letting yourself swan dive down. Inhale presses you to a flat back. So pressing back with the thigh bones, reaching forward through the crown. And exhale folds you in, softening the body. And then the arms reach wide and we slowly soft bend in the knees. We rise up tall. Keeping the arms overhead, step the feet in a little bit closer and turn the pinkies towards each other. Throw length towards the earth, reaching up through the top of the head. And breathe in. On the exhale, we sit into our chair. So keeping the spine long, keep pulling up on the pubic bone to engage the core. And on the exhale, we fold it forward, straightening the legs. Inhale presses you to a flat back. On the exhale, the right foot steps. So you find the lunge that we found before, lengthening through that back heel. It should feel maybe a little bit looser now. And take a breath in. And we'll step that right foot in a little bit, pivoting heel. Bending into the left knee, guide your head. Notice what that stacked over the ankle. And keep the outside edge of that right foot grounded down. Keep squaring the hips to the front. So to me, this is the hardest of the warrior poses. There's so much more anchored in. And take a breath in. On the exhale, right arm draws back, left arm draws forward, and we find our warrior two. So you might adjust the feet a little bit so that left heel aligns with the right arch. And keep the spine long, keep bending into that left knee. Ideally, the left knee is stacked over the ankle. So make sure you're not coming out in front or not quite approaching it. We're just going to hold here in stability, grounding down through the outside corner of that right foot. And take a breath in. And slowly straighten that left leg. Left arm reaches up, right arm draws down by the side. Reverse triangle. Breathe long. And then slowly we bend back into warrior two. And slowly straighten that left leg. Reverse triangle once more. And now for actual triangle. So we'll draw that right hip back as the left arm comes forward and that left knee as needed. And the left hand comes down, maybe the earth. And the right hand finds the right hip, and we begin to turn the heart over towards the right. Maybe from here, that right arm draws up towards the sky, or you can keep it on the hip. And there's energy from the hips through the crown of the head. There's energy from the center of the body. And breathe in. Micro bend in that left. And softly bend into. Passing back through warrior two, take a breath. And then cartwheel the hands down to the earth. And we'll gently step that left foot back. And breathe length into the spine. And let it go. One more breath. Draw the in. Let it go. And the inhale lifts the heels. Exhale, bends the knees deeply. Look forward. Make your way to the top of the mat. And the inhale. And the exhale folds you forward. Softness in the knees, sweeping the arms wide. Up. Coming back to stand. Reaching the arms overhead. Pinkies turn towards each other. Feet are hip distance. Lengthen the tailbone down towards the earth. Lift the heart and take a breath. On the exhale, bending into the sitting in the chair. So core is engaged. Heart is lifted. Breathe in. On the exhale, we fold, forward fold. Inhale to a flat back. On the exhale, steps back, finding our lunge. Sinking the hips. Noticing if this feels any different than the first time you took it. And take a breath. And then step that left foot in, pivoting the heel down. So it comes in a little bit. Squaring the hips already, bending into that right. We lift up and away. You can step that right foot out a little bit, just finding comfort. This can be heel to heel, wider. Lengthening out through that left foot. Keeping the tailbone on. Breathing in. And breathing out. One more breath. Right arm reaches forward, left arm draws back, and we open to warrior two. Adjusting the feet as you need. Keeping that back nice and long. Outside edge of that foot is dry. Energy reaching out through fingers, but drawing the upper arm bone, shoulders. And make sure you can keep that right knee stacked over the and drawn towards the pinky toe side of the foot. And breathe. Slowly on the inhale, straighten that right leg. Right arm draws up. Arm draws back. Triangle. Breathe in. And we bend back into warrior two. Maybe notice if that feels a little different. And then slowly straighten the right leg. Reverse triangle once more. And this time, draw that left hip back. So we're finding a little sass in the hip. And the right arm draws forward as far as it can go. And then lowers down towards the earth, the shin, a block. That left hand comes to the left hip as we open the heart side. Let that left arm reach up towards the sky, or it can stay in the hip. Soft bend in that right knee. Energy through the head. Taking the gaze up if that's comfortable in the neck, or down at the earth. Energy into that back heel. Breathe in. Breathe out. Bending into the right knee. Left arm comes forward, hands frame that right foot, heel toeing it where it needs to be, and then stepping it back to downward facing dog. Doing great. And just breathe in and breathe out. And relax the shoulders. Soften the body. One more breath. Now we're going to step the right foot forward. And we're going to walk the hands off the left side of the mat, coming into a wide-legged stance. So hands are underneath the shoulders. Inhale presses you to a flat back. Just a little bit of pigeon toe with the toes, turning them towards each other. On the exhale, a little bend in the knees and we fold forward. So you can find any version of the forward fold that works for you. Maybe forward fold is here with a flat back, and that's perfectly fine. And if you come down a little bit further, or if you'd like to adjust the feet a little wider or closer, feel free to do that. So we're finding a little opening in the hips, the inner thighs. You can always walk the hands in line with the feet if you like that effect. You can rock the weight out of the heels a little bit, so it's a little bit more distributed in the front and back of the foot. You can keep the knees as bent or as straight as you would like. It's entirely up to you. One more breath. And then very slowly walk the hands underneath the shoulders if they're not already there. Take a breath in. Exhale, hands come up to the hips. And on the inhale, use the strength of your legs to rise you up to a stand. Up. You're going to heel toe the feet in until they're mat width apart. So you may actually top of your mat. And once you find the edges of the mat with the feet or feet mat width apart, have the toes angled out and the heels angled in. And the inhale reaches the arm. And on the exhale, we're going to bend about halfway down. So bring the hands to the heart and bending into the knees and toes pointing in the same direction, and come down until the elbows connect with the thighs or the knees. And see here, engage the core. So pull up on the pubic bone and then draw the ribs towards the hips a little bit, activating the core muscles. And from this place of strength, lower yourself further into this squat. So the elbows slide down, maybe they connect with the knees, the hips lower towards the earth, and the spine stays nice and long. And if you need props, block or anything underneath the hips to keep you stable, comfortable in this pose, feel free to take that adjustment. So we are getting pretty deep into the hips, but we're supporting our balance. We're supporting this pose with core engagement. So notice the core. Notice the breath. And see if you can give yourself one more breath. When you are ready, we'll make our way to a seat. So finding your bottom the best way for you. There you go. And extend the legs long in front. Reach energy out through the soles of the feet. And draw the sit bones down. And see if you can root the tailbone down. Lengthen through the head. And bring the hands to the earth on either side of the hips. And see if you can find that place where the core fires. So with your seat rooted down, rise down. You should find that place. On the inhale, reach the arms overhead. And on the exhale, from the Paschimottanasana. So the hand and the heart lowers down. One of our last poses for lower back. So this has really turned into a lower back practice with core activities and hip flex and things to support the core. These are all very necessary activities, especially if you're doing a lot of traveling and you're sitting down a lot, or you find yourself just sitting down a day. I encourage you anytime you want to come back to this video to try these poses or follow this flow, you're more than welcome to do so. And take one more. Slowly lift the gaze. Walk the hands in into upright. If you have a book, go ahead and grab that. We're going to make our transition onto the back body. So take the block between the palms and reach it out in front of you. So the body is creating a little bit of a C shape or U on its side. And once more, like the beginning, before really root down, lengthen through the top, engage the core. And so we're going to do this pose on an exhale. Take a breath in, and on the exhale, we'll slow, low vertebra at a time, gradually returning the back body to the earth. Let yourself go as slow as possible, using the core. Try not to let yourself go whoomp when you get there. Reach the arms overhead, placing the block wherever it needs to be. We'll come back to it in a moment. And once you're flat, just begin to bend the knees and draw them. And give yourself a hug. So one of my favorite ways of ending our practice is a little supported bridge in Viparita Karani. So bring the feet down to the earth. Make sure they're about hip distance apart. And reach down with the fingers. Make sure you can just graze the heels. That block, and we'll take it on the lowest level, so the flattest, widest surface area. And pressing the feet, lifting the hips, and slide the block underneath the sacrum. It's a little at the beginning of our practice. It's a wide bony area at the base of the spine. And you can stay right here with the hips supported. Some people like to elevate the block to a higher level, so if that's your practice, otherwise you can stay. This is just a gentle back bend. And when you're ready, begin to draw the knees in and straighten the legs. The soles of the feet reach towards the sky. Relax the front ribs. And relax the legs. You can take any movement you'd like. Maybe pointing and flexing the feet. Maybe circling the ankles. Pose in complete stillness. Viparita Karani is a wonderful pose for helping bring us into our parasympathetic, our rest and digest. So at the beginning of our practice, I talked about fight or flight in the context of the psoas muscle. And that's not to implicate it in causing it, but it can get when we are tense or seated. And the stretch that we did is a great way to bring us out of that sympathetic, that fight or flight response. And this pose is another way that you can do that. This is a great pose to do at the end of your practice or at the end of a long day. If you just need a little break. This is Legs Up the Wall or Viparita Karani. And take one more breath here. And slowly, when you're ready, begin to bend the knees, returning the feet to the earth. And gently lift the hips, slide the down, one vertebra at a time. And we're going to transition so let the legs extend long along the earth, relaxing the arms by the shoulder blades towards each other, letting the heart open up towards the sky. And take a nice breath in. And let it go. And let every inch of your body soften down and relax. The only thing that's holding you in this pose is the earth that supports you. There is nowhere else you need to be. There's nothing else that you need to do. Just give yourself permission to take rest. And slowly return your awareness back. Allowing yourself gentle movements in the fingers, toes. And as you're ready, reach the arms overhead. Taking a nice full body stretch, reaching through fingertips, reaching through toes. And slowly guide the hands to the knees. Give yourself a little squeeze. And as you're ready, roll to the side. Pause here and give yourself an abundance of love, passion, and gratitude for taking time to yourself and for your practice. And then slowly, mindfully, press yourself up to a comfortable seat, maybe with the shin. Put the hands beside you. Once more, lengthening the spine, grounding down through the seat, reaching up through the crown of the head. The next inhale floats the arms overhead. The palm, exhale, we bring them. And so I thank you ever so much for sharing your practice with me today. May all beings everywhere be happy, healthy, free, and at ease. The love and light within me honors and acknowledges the love and light within you. And from my heart to yours, namaste.